everyone, and welcome to a special episode where I focus on one item of clothing and I look at lots of different patterns and also find free ones and show you how they look compared to each other. And today it's t-shirts. T-shirts, I've got long sleeve t-shirts too, and as I say, I found as many free ones as I can. Now let's be clear, I could sew t-shirts for a whole year and still not use all the patterns that are out there, and I appreciate that there are a lot of t-shirt patterns available, hence why I went for the free ones, because if we're looking for a t-shirt pattern and we want to dip our toe in, a free one is a good place to go. And there's some real variety. So we've got drop shoulder, set-in sleeves, grown-on sleeves. We've got boxy, we've got shaped, we've got baggy. So t-shirts can come in a lot of fit styles. So I've got to have my notepaper here because this is the only way I can keep track. So first of all, we've got the Stellan Tee, which is free. I will put the details of the pattern company up here while I'm talking. So I made this one first of all in the short sleeve. When I first made this, their short sleeve is actually almost to my elbow, and for me, when I'm looking for a short sleeve, that's too long for me. And so the first batch I made, I did set about shortening them to the length that I like as well. So here next to me while I'm talking throughout, there will be sort of videos where you can see it when I initially made it, and then you can see how I've worn it. Now this one does have some shape to it. It fits quite nicely. So also, point to note, where possible, I did make the size that was recommended for my body measurements. So this one has a bit of shaping, and when I first made it, it was quite an interesting shape, and I actually haven't stopped that. It curves at the back, so it's slightly longer at the back than at the front. And so if you like to wear your t-shirts over your clothes, not tucked in, then the Stellan Tee is a really good one for that. I personally like to tuck my t-shirts in, so I wouldn't bother in future with that shaping, but you can see how the back comes down quite a bit further than the front. And as I say, that's not something that interests me, but if it's something you like, then the Stellan Tee is quite a good one. It's quite a higher neck. It's not super high, but it's, as scoop necks go, it's not very low at all. So if you like a higher neck, it's higher than this one. If you like a higher neck t-shirt, it's good for that. Now I'm not going to comment on instructions with these, because t-shirt patterns, once you've made one t-shirt pattern, probably like me, you're not really reading the instructions. For me, this is much more about the fit. I then did make the Stellan Tee again. So I liked the fit of this t-shirt. I liked the way it fitted across my body, fitted at my waist. Now I am, and I'll put my measurements here, you know, the kind of bust where I sometimes have to consider whether I'd need to do a full bust adjustment. So between my bust and my waist variation, I am a lady who has hit the menopause and body is doing those things. But I would say that I didn't need to make any fit adjustments. I made one size. I'll put the size in here as well. But as I say, for me, when I want a short sleeve, I needed to shorten the sleeve of the Stellan Tee. So the next one I made was the free one that is by Deer and Doe. And Deer and Doe are a French pattern company, but are now owned or in the family of Closet Core. So you find their patterns on the Closet Core website now, but they're still separate block, separate design. So this was the Plantain. and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, Plantain. And this is the one for this. Again, I found the sleeve too long to start with. It has a much more scooped neck, and I liked that because particularly in the summer when you perhaps want a little bit more of your skin on show, that was a nice level of scoop. Now it will look like it's pulling here, but when it's on it doesn't, because obviously the neckband should be slightly tighter than the distance around. I decided to finish my sleeve on this one in a different way, so it looked like a little cuff. That was my own personal design. Again, you've got a lower back than front, so if you like that kind of thing, they've done that. Now, I rarely hem my t-shirts because it's not going to fray, and I tuck them in, but you can see there the difference between the front and the back. I felt it was a good body fit shape as well. So if you're looking for a nicely fitted t-shirt with a bit more of a scoop, this is a good one to go for. Now, I actually made the plantain in a striped, and there is a long sleeve option. So I lengthened the sleeve. On the pattern, you can cut the sleeve to the short sleeve, and then I always keep the long sleeve because then I can place them back together when I want to do the long. So I made the longer sleeve version, but what I decided to do, and it's not quite possible to see it here, I did shorten the curve of the neck. Pause while I put the, I'm going to pause while I put the two on so you can see. So if I start with this one, if we use my mole as a point, it's about 2 inches below my mole. So you can see how nicely this fits. It does have those slight pull lines here, which some might argue means I need to do a full bust adjustment. But for me, it's a t-shirt. It isn't too wide across the back, and if you look at the shoulders, it does fit well on the shoulders. I'll tell you what, if I wear a different bra, it fits slightly differently, but I'm just going to get all jiggly. It was a good shoulder width for me. So we have to remember, I haven't yet got the neckband on. So with the neckband on, this would almost be touching my mole. So what I did when I cut the pattern for this was cut out the rest of the body and then shifted the neck up so that when I cut it, I got the same curve, but it wasn't as low. Now, one of the things I would say about the long sleeve is the sleeve is actually quite tight. Now, I would say my upper arm, I don't work out, so there's not bicep there, but I would say it's probably a little bit wider than the average for the rest of my measurements. So I would probably cut the sleeve. Now, I think it is meant to be fitted, so it does fit like the rest, but I would say that for comfort, if you've got, I mean, it's stretchy, this fabric, but it's not super stretchy. If you've got a fabric that's got less percentage of stretch, you might want to just widen the sleeve slightly for comfort. The sleeve comes up quite long, which is not unusual for me, so I would probably want to lose a couple of inches, but I do have shorter arms. But as you can see, I've got narrow shoulders and it does sit on my shoulders. So if you had broader shoulders, that could be a challenge in the plantain. So I'm back to this top because now we're going to talk about this one. This is the Hemlock t-shirt. It is free, but you need to sign up to the newsletter to get this one. So I've made it in a short sleeve, and I've also made it in a long sleeve, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, this is described as a boxy t-shirt, and if you look at the pictures and so on, it even shows somebody like tying it. I did size down a size in this because I'd read it was boxy, and I'm not a big fan of a boxy. Because of my chest, it just makes everything hang forward from that point, and that's not for me. So I sized down, but if you like a boxy t-shirt, this is a good one. So if we use my mole, there, see, that sits just over it. So it's not the highest, but it's not the lowest. So if you like a medium sort of opening on a neck, this is a good one. This is a drop shoulder, so you don't have to worry so much about the fitting. Obviously, the last two were set in sleeves. So I'll say again that the Stellan and the Plantain are setting, the Hemlock is a drop shoulder. I ummed and ahed about shortening the sleeve and actually decided not to in the end. Let me put the long sleeve version on. So remember, bear in mind I haven't got the neck cuffing on yet. I had to cut the front bodice into 2 parts because of the amount of fabric I had of this. You can see this sleeve is more generous, so I've got more room in here, but as a drop shoulder, that does help because you've got that more generosity around here. You can see even size down, it is a lot looser, but this is still a nice fit. Size down, size up, I don't know, whatever it is where you went for the smaller size. So depending on what you're looking for, I think this has a more casual look, but this is really designed, and I'm not worried about this line here because it's designed to wear under things in this time of year, because I see a stripe as a neutral, like a leopard print. So another free one is, and you'll have heard me talk about this before, this is the Closet Core Tee. So it is again a bit sort of bigger on the body, it's straighter. The sleeves come up short on this one, which I find really interesting, considering it's designed as a long sleeve. I have made it in various lengths. This is my go-to long sleeve t-shirt. I'm going to pop it on so I can show you why. I would say of all the t-shirts I've shown you so far, this is the highest neck. So at this time of year, when I'm wearing a top like this underneath something else, I quite like a bit of the colour popping out. If you don't, or your tops you're wearing it under a lower neck, then you'd either want to shape this down or choose a different pattern. Set in sleeve again, and this one again just dips over the edge of my shoulder, but I'm fine about it. I actually put cuffing on the end of this one to try and get a bit more length. When I put my arms out as a short sleeve person, it's that length. As a short sleeve, as a short arm person, it's that length. So you would definitely want to look at lengthening that. I think this one is not too wide across the back. It's not too boxy. It fits perfectly with like vest tops over the top, jumpers, cardigans. The arm is a good width as well. It's not feeling tight. So if like me, you've got sort of a bit more up here nowadays, this doesn't draw attention or feel tight on that. I have made it in a lot of different variations. So I made it in this super drapey fabric, and this feels so nice on. And I actually just sort of left it shorter on the sleeve, and you can see how much that one sort of drapes. I then made it in a slightly thicker white jersey. That's the wrong one, hang on. You can see why I got confused. One I got out, one I wanted. This one has more like raindrop shaped polka dots. So this one I did like elbow length, probably because I only had that much fabric. This is super soft but slightly thicker. Most of these fabrics that I have sewn the t-shirts and I'm showing you are remnants that I buy from fabric shops, because you can squeeze a t-shirt out of them and you can just vary the length of the sleeve to how much fabric you have. So I'm very unlikely to be able to tell you where most of these fabrics are from, or they're unlikely to still be available because I look for end of bolt, remnant, or they're leftovers of other projects. So you can see how this can vary. So I'll put this one on so you can see. So you can see I kept the neck the same, but just that different length there. And this height for me is not really a height I like to wear without something with it, but it's perfect with, as I say, like vest, top over the top, waistcoat, dress, whatever that is. These work brilliantly for me, cardigans, whatever it is I want to wear. So this is the Closet Core free t-shirt. It has a little thing to do like a pocket. Never felt the need for that in my life. One of the other patterns has an elbow patch option. Never felt the need for that either. Now I have 2 paid for patterns. One of them is the Agnes t-shirt by Tilly and the Buttons, and I wanted to have it inside out to show you. If you go for the gathered sleeve, you actually put elastic in like this. So very clear instructions on how to do it. It is a much more scooped neck. Now the thing is, once you've got t-shirts, if you've got a neck you like, you can just trace that and add that onto the neck. So if you don't like the depth of the Agnes but you like the rest of the fit, then you can just change the neck like that. I also want to mention at this point that for most of them I've sewn with variegated thread, and usually white or black as the other two on the overlocker. And so I like this one, but it feels more dressy, and this type of sleeve does not work well if, like, you're putting, as I say, like something over the top, unless that's poking out. I'll put it on to show you. So if we're using the mole again as the measure, we can see it's back to that plantain scoop. I think as a top, if I was wearing it with just like some like trousers or bottoms to go to the pub or something, yes, this fabric I've sewed it in feels a bit thinner, so maybe in a thicker fabric I might feel differently. But if I had like a waistcoat and then that sleeve poking out, I would quite like that. I do like this sleeve. One of the things I have to watch out with tilling the buttons with all her patterns is the width of the shoulders. Now this one, I have to say, next time I would do the shoulder size down. I've done it in the Billy jumper, I do it in the Freya. You've just got to watch out. If you've got narrow shoulders like me, then it just needs to come there, look. So this one was sewn quite early on when I was still learning those things. You can do a small shoulder adjustment. If you look for that on YouTube, there's a couple of different ways to do it, and I can vouch for it being a good thing. Don't just cut in there. You could either size down and then grade out, or make a small shoulder adjustment. Now, I'm going to put this one on because this is another paid for one, and one that lots of people have heard of. So this is the Tammy Handmade Naya t-shirt. Now, if you're on Instagram, you've probably seen many people make it in many types of fabric. This is the one t-shirt that I would say has, for me, the most bang for your buck when you buy a t-shirt. It is a bit boxier, but I love the sleeve cuff like this because you can put it on or leave it off. I like the height of the neckband. I like that I can extend it down into a dress. I like that I can make it in woven. Tammy never planned that, but it worked perfectly. It works in lots of different thicknesses. I made about 6 or 7. I saw someone made one out of a scarf. So it is a great pattern if you're looking for. Now there are other patterns like this, but the way Tammy has drafted this just seems to work well for so many people. So it's what's called a grown-on sleeve. So it's one whole pattern piece front and back, and it just works brilliantly. This is a little legs fabric. I don't think it's available anymore. But the last thing I wanted to mention was fabric. When you're making t-shirts, the fabric can really vary it. So this was a leftover piece from a Westcliff dress I made. This is a super drapey viscose jersey, I would say. And the way this t-shirt would drape and fit over your body is very different from the way this one would. The quality of little legs fabric for me, and please leave me a comment if you find differently, is I find they wash so well. They do not lose A, the quality of their colour, and B, when they stretch, you do not lose or see any colour through. So if you are at that point where you've dabbled and you're ready to make yourself some quality pieces, and this is not sponsored, this is just my experience of all the different jerseys, and I love a jersey fabric that I've bought, printed little legs fabrics, if you want a printed design, are the best. I've tried Minerva, I've tried lots of other ones, and these ones are consistently, I've never been disappointed. Now, as I say, most of these were bought as remnants, etc. Some of them, for example, I bought this one and this one in the sale from Fabric Godmother. It's not a Fabric Godmother fabric, but it was on the Fabric Godmother website, and I can feel that this isn't 100% cotton. Now you need to look at that when you're buying t-shirt fabric. 2 critical things to look at. One is look at the content. The more poly in it, the less breathable it will be, and the more you can feel it. And the other thing is look at the weight. The heavier the weight, the more the t-shirt will not drape on you. So this is a much heavier weight than these ones, but it is a better quality. And you probably noticed when I put these on, they almost went a little bit see-through. If you think of that one, it wouldn't have done. No idea where I got that from. Sometimes even two fabrics of the same weight can have different drape. So when you are first making yourself t-shirts and items out of jersey, buy cheaper to practice. When you are ready to make the sort of, not forever, but the pieces that will be consistent in your wardrobe year after year, I have to say I like to feel the jersey to make my choices. Now, people love to ask me what are my favourites. If you regularly watch my channel, you will know how much I love the Naya. But if I discount this one and really go sort of more classic t-shirt, the one that I have made the most because it is the right shape for a layering piece would be my closet core t-shirt. I have a good few of these in lovely bright plains. So for a layering basic, my choice is the closet core t-shirt. It's got that closer fit that means it goes under jumpers and things without lots of looseness. It's free, which means that you don't have to worry about spending money on it. Obviously you might choose to have it printed in PDF like I do, but you've got that longer sleeve. It's got enough generosity to not need to be messing around with sizing, and so that is layering piece. For t-shirt for wearing, I'm just deciding. I have to say I was very impressed with both the Stellan and the Plantain. If I had to choose a t-shirt that I would wear on its own with like trousers or a skirt or something, I would probably go Plantain for the summer because I like that bigger curve on the neck and I like the fit again as well. So definitely for like a want this t-shirt on its own, tucking it in some trousers, tucking it in a skirt, wearing it with some shorts, I would probably choose this one of the ones. Hope that's been really helpful. Do let me know what kind of fit you like in a t-shirt. Also let me know your favourite t-shirt pattern. Is it one of mine or is it one I haven't heard of? Because I'm pretty sure I could do another whole episode about lots of other ones. If you know another free t-shirt pattern that you think I might like, let me know that too. I will catch you again soon. Bye.